Welcome to POL Classics. Be sure to check out the best of POL from over the years. It's at its most popular day and time, and guess what? It's only on WNEP+.
WNEP proudly presents the premier outdoor show in northeastern and central Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania Outdoor Life, your window to the great outdoors. Tonight on Pennsylvania Outdoor Life.
We'll take you on a first day of the season deer hunt, and we'll check out some of the huge trophies taken right here in northeastern Pennsylvania.
Lace up those hunting boots. Pennsylvania Outdoor Life starts right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. I'm Don Jacobs. Ken Hunter is at an Outdoor Writers Association conference, so Dr. Gary Alt has graciously accepted an invitation. Gary, thanks for joining us here.
It's good to be back.
1 week down. Did you get out for the opening day of the buck season?
I did. I went out opening day, and it was about the windiest weather I've ever hunted in. Need a Dramamine if you're in a tree stand.
Conversation's going right to the weather, isn't it? Unbelievable weather, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Who did you go with? Family?
Well, actually, my son wasn't able to make it. He injured his foot here this time, but I have friends in northern Wayne County, the Dixes, that I hunt with, and we had a great time hunting, but pretty tough weather.
And same here. I got out with my daughters. We had to, put the hand warmers on and try to keep ourselves together a little bit. We'll tell you how we made out in a second. What we are going to do, though, is join field staff member Jackie Voss and her husband George. They invited us along for a before the opening day story, and it went right into the opening morning.
Well, it's a little windy, so we'll see how true these guns are in the wind, right?
We're going to be hunting with on Monday, so we might as well practice shooting them.
That's right.
All we have to do is hit that black and we'll be okay.
All right, don't forget your protection.
Hey, I got 'em.
Let's throw a couple of those. How far away is this, George?
50 yards.
50 yards? Yep.
Well, we're going to sight in our guns today after a year. We practice, but you just want to get them in the last minute to make sure you're on site. And we're going to go down, take a look at our tree stands to make sure there's no wind damage to them, that everything we place there, like my hull line or any camouflage we put around the tree stand, is still there, it's still intact, and that the tree stand definitely is still safe to get up in.
A lot of women are sitting at home saying, man, I don't know, how could she do that kind of thing? It is unusual for a woman to talk about scent and about wildlife and about, the property and feeding, and we're going to hunt sign and everything. What do you say to a woman that says, I don't know if I could do that?
I think until you try it, you don't know what you're missing. I was born and raised with the hunting. I love the outdoors, and what better way to see nature but then to go out there. The thrill of the hunt, there's nothing more exciting than when you see that big buck or the doe come through.
Good, yeah. Good. Okay, you got a nice group. Yes, very good.
Your turn.
What do you think about having your hunting buddy as your wife?
It was a major adjustment for me. It was traditionally a guy thing. It was my getaway. It was my way of, going with my comrades and hanging out with them. It was an adjustment. It was hard because I was worried about her, how she was going to handle the cold weather and things like that. And I don't worry about myself, but worrying about what she was going to be doing. But as soon as after that first year of hunting together, after we had gotten married, and it was that first year we hunted together, I was like, well, I was very impressed. And there's nothing like it. You'll always know you'll have a hunting partner. You don't have to worry about getting together with anybody. And being that we are so close to our home when we do hunt,
If I'm not mistaken,
this is our hunting cabin.
bullseye.
Okay, it looks like the guns are ready. Why don't we go down and check out the tree stand, see how they're doing.
All right.
Let's go up and check it out.
Time, go up and run.
It's solid. Looks good.
Good?
Yeah. Everything looks good.
where's your stand? Let's go look. Let's go look at where you're.
Now, I'm not that far from here, but right down the road a little bit.
Okay.
Follow me over here.
What do you think, guys? Are your tree stands ready?
Yeah, we're all set.
I think they're ready to go.
Are you set?
Yeah.
Now it's just wait for tomorrow morning.
Yep.
More in the morning, and like I said, get out our traditions. I have a certain hat that I wear that has a buck on it, and my cranberry nut bread. I'll be out there all day.
And you're ready to go.
We're ready.
Well, thanks for allowing us to come with you tomorrow morning. I'll be hunting with my daughters. We'll compare notes in the middle of the week, but good luck.
Thanks.
Great. And,
good luck to you and your
you-
family.
Yeah,
Good.
guys, good luck.
Have a good
Thanks.
time.
I know you're ready to go. So
I know. Let's
Yep,
get going here.
Let's get going here. Now get some rest.
Okay. Well, good luck. Bye.
Careful.
Okay. Once I was situated, George made his way to his stand and awaited daybreak. Well, it's 9 o'clock on the opening day of the season. We had everything from snow, rain, to winds. No activity. We haven't seen anything yet. Heard shots, though. That got the blood flowing. But, well, we're just going to stay out here and see how we do. Hopefully we'll see something this afternoon. After hours of waiting and changing weather, a few deer came nervously into range.
Traditionally, we don't shoot doe the first day because I still have that sense, that's my own personal belief, I have the sense that that buck is still chasing doe at this point. And if I start disturbing that doe line, I want them to be as natural as possible and wait for that big buck to come through. After the first day, everybody's mooching around in the woods, scents are different. Heck, we don't go after the doe, let them fly. But this year, this first day of the year, we just try to keep everything as natural as possible.
As it turned out, these 4 doe would be the last we would see for the opening of this year's rifle season.
Jackie, George, thank you very much for allowing us to take part in your traditional opening day. I had a very traditional opening day myself. Gary, my daughter, Brianna, and Kristen joined me in the tree stand, and Kristen, my 15-year-old, shot her first buck.
Wow.
It is this nice three-pointer right here. And, you know, thanks to the fact that junior hunters could still harvest three-pointers, first buck, and I'm really excited to put it on a nice little plaque. What are you seeing? Are people shooting doe? Are they shooting buck?
Well, you always hear about a lot of people holding off, to shoot a doe, but they're holding off less often than they used to because in the locker plants here and throughout the state, we're seeing almost as many does as bucks right off the bat. So we need them to shoot the does to bring the herd under control, and I think they're doing it.
Is that a mentality thing, or was it just so cold they just wanted to fire their gun?
It was cold. There's no question about that.
But I think they're going full circle. I think people are realizing let's fill our freezers too, right?
Yeah. And I think what's interesting to me about what you just said about your daughter there is that I got my first deer on December 2nd, 1963, and it's a memory I'll never forget.
You'll never forget it.
Yeah, your first deer is something that you'll never forget. I think people who don't hunt don't realize how important that is.
Yeah.
And I remember who was there, what the weather was like, and things happen at deer camp that don't happen anywhere else.
Absolutely. And you take it with you.
Forever.
You really do.
Yeah.
We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to check out how big the racks are in the second year of antler restrictions, so stick around. We'll have even more POL Classics on WNEP Plus right after this. Welcome back to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. Once again, joining me here in the Pennsylvania Outdoor Life cabin, Dr. Gary All from the Pennsylvania Game Commission. Dr. Gary, the second year of antler restriction. In general, are people shooting bigger bucks?
Yeah, there's no question. You look around the locker plants, you're seeing a lot more rack bucks.
Therefore, a little older, probably?
Yes, absolutely. Right.
Now, to prove that a little bit for videotape purposes, we got a hold of Dan Jennings over at Bucktown Taxidermy in Mayfield. We asked him, can we spend some time looking at what you're seeing this year compared to other years? And that's exactly what we did.
We're at Bucktown Taxidermy. It's on 502 Route 6 in Mayfield. I've been here for 5 years now. 90% of the business is Pennsylvania hunters. Pennsylvania game, mostly deer, a little bit of bear. I think that this antler restrictions has really been working. I think even last year, with the first year being the doe season, putting a doe season for the 2 weeks, I think a lot of people shot the first deer that walked into them. The buck that they normally would have had to wait for, they was scared off by the shot. They were out of the woods, and Last year, the rack size seemed to increase a little bit, and this year it just seems a lot better than it's ever been. Don, this is the average buck I've been getting in over the years. Nothing wrong with it, a pretty buck,
Right.
a nice 13-inch 8-pointer, good mass, good points. But over the years, I mean, this has become, for this year's archery season, I mean, this has become the average buck. I mean, that's a pretty substantial deer for Pennsylvania. You know, I don't know too many hunters that can let a deer like that walk. But because you're getting more bucks like this, you're starting to see more bucks like this.
Now, this is a Pennsylvania buck, too?
Yep, this is a Pennsylvania archery kill. Hunter's name was Joe Jarrow. He killed him in Lenox with the bow. I forget what date, but, you know, this one here was taken right up the road, another Pope and Young deer.
Now, these are the ones that you're saying are probably because of letting them grow a year or two.
Yep,
maybe.
again, he might have been this last year, but they couldn't see if he had 6 points, or they could just see the rack going through. He got through, found his picker patch, and he made it to next year.
And there's no doubting this one.
No,
That's a
no.
legal Pennsylvania buck right there.
Yep.
That's all right. That's a dandy buck.
It's all uphill from there when you shoot that for your first buck.
That's perfect.
Nice job. Nice job.
Are you getting him mounted?
I don't know.
Nobody dreams about shooting a spike. Everybody complains about the rules, but nobody dreams about shooting a spike. Everybody's got the 8-point, the 10-point on their mind, and it forces you to shoot the deer that you want to shoot. If you know, stay out there. If you want the meat, there's plenty of doe tags out there, but I think you give it a couple more years and you're really going to see a good improvement on the racks. And this is a prime example of that. One more year. This is a 2-year-old. You give him you got to let him get that magic 3. He definitely would have pushed. I bet you would have pushed him on both sides, because you could see me push him up on both sides.
First buck?
Yes.
Is it really?
Yep. First buck.
Congratulations. How old?
19 I am.
Yeah.
Got him at the first light.
Nice.
7 o'clock.
Nice job. What's your name?
Don.
Don who?
Amelia.
Don Amelia?
That's 2 youngsters with their an uphill battle for the rest of their life, because they don't.
You got to shoot something nicer than that next year.
It's working. You know, if you give them that extra year to age, you're going to get a better rack. Everybody says they can't do it in my area. This mountain's not good enough. The biggest thing, if you talk to any biologist, they say the number one thing is age. Nutrition plays a factor. Genetics plays a factor. But the biggest thing is age. They got to get to that 3-year-old, 4-year-old area, and that's when you're going to start seeing a true trophy.
Hold them up, be proud. That's not bad for the... All the first-timers are bringing in
yours?
bucks.
Yeah.
This is a first-timer.
A lot of guys in the last 2 years have killed their best buck because of the restriction. They saw a 4-pointer or a spike earlier on that they normally would have been glad to take. They had to let them walk, wait it out, hunt a little longer, a little harder, and they end up, shooting the deer of a lifetime. And the smiles on their face tells the whole story. Now that's exactly the bucks I was talking about right there. That's what happens when you let them grow up a little bit. Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. That is a dandy. Where'd you shoot him?
Where?
Yeah.
Little Meadow, Susquehanna County.
Susquehanna County? That is a nice rack. Biggest buck you've ever shot?
Oh, yeah.
Now, we stood around there all of 2 hours, and we saw countless numbers of antlers being brought in. Of course, we want to thank Dan Jennings from Bucktown Taxidermy, Route 6 in Mayfield. Gary, he's saying what you initiated, antler restrictions, they're working. What have you seen this week?
Well, we're encouraged by what we're seeing. I mean, we're not seeing monster bucks. We're not looking at Boone and Crockett or Pope and Young bucks, but we're seeing enormous change in the number of 2-year-old bucks. Those are the bucks that have 8 points, 13 to 17-inch spreads. They're much more common.
Now, when we first talked about getting together and doing this, you were saying the first blocker plant that you walked in, you looked down and it was amazing to you. What did you see there?
Well, as soon as we went through the door, I think Warren Harris and I are the 2 people working in what's called Area 7, Wayne and Pike County. And as soon as you walked in the locker plant, you did a double take and said, "Look at all the rack bucks." And one of the things, we collect data every year on this, and typically what we found is about 15% of the bucks were age 2 and older in previous years. This year, 56% of them are 2 and older. So it's a phenomenal difference. As soon as you open the door and you look around the floor, you say, there's a lot more 8-pointers in here than I've ever seen before.
More than 5 out of every 10 deer were 2-year-olds?
Yes, that's right.
Unbelievable.
And most of those have 8 or 10 points. Most of them have 8 points, 8, 9,
Right.
like that.
Now, this is only the second year.
Right.
If they don't shoot some of these 2-year-olds, we can expect some real slammers next
Well,
year.
you can, and the antler restrictions by themselves are not going to get us into 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds. I think the attitudes with the antler restrictions might, where a lot of non-believers are out there saying, well, I don't care, any little buck is good enough for me. But now all of a sudden they start seeing these 8-pointers all over and saying, well, maybe this is work. And some people will begrudgingly say that. You're going to keep them alive one more year, basically. But we have had some help from Mother Nature. Monday and Tuesday, cold, windy weather. Saturday, again, you have bad weather again. That starts to slow down the number of bucks and does that they're going to take. But I expect some leakage. Some of these 2-year-olds are going to get on into 3 next year. And when they do, those are the ones who can show up 20-inch spreads, 10 points, bigger than anything you've ever taken in your life.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Great first week. We have one more week of the hunting season, and we have more of Pennsylvania Outdoor Life, so stick around. We're going to be right back. Dr. Alt is going to join us. We're going to talk about the biggest bear in Pennsylvania being killed, so stick around.
POL Classic, we'll have much more of it on WNEP Plus right after this.
Welcome back to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. We're going to stick with deer for just one more, I guess, little half of a segment here. Gary, we've followed you through the coldest nights, through the snow-driven piles up against clover traps in central Pennsylvania. What's going on with the buck study?
Well, we're just about ready to launch the 3rd and final year of capturing deer, but one of the exciting things is we're now evaluating what happened to the ones we caught last winter. And they're into this up to their knees right now. Eric Long is out there day and night. We have other Wendy Freeman's out there capturing them. Brett Wallingford. They're all gathering data on all those bucks that we collared last year. And it puts Pennsylvania really up front in terms of, does this work or does it not work? Either it does or it doesn't. It's not up for speculation. We will have hundreds of bucks when the study is over to decide, did we save them or didn't we save them? And if we didn't save them, what happened to them? Preliminarily, they were still alive coming into the hunting season, which is, that's very exciting news, because a lot of the skeptics said, oh, they'll kill them beforehand. They were still out there. Now we'll see how successful the hunters are at taking them. And what happens over time. So we're very excited. We're right on track.
And our viewing audience is excited about finding out more and more and more about deer. So thanks for involving us along with that. Now, one thing we do want to do is switch gears a little bit here and talk to the animals that are hanging behind us here. The story that we're going to show people, you had a direct hand in. Tell me a little bit about the bear that they're about to see here.
Well, that bear was one of the most beautiful bears I've ever seen. The thing, as I recall, it weighed over 700 pounds a little bit when we were out there and did the story. That was about 6 years ago. And last Monday, they caught up with him finally.
Well, the bear that we're talking about is a bear that Gary said, come on along with me, Mike Stevens. I want to show you the biggest bear in Pennsylvania, and that's exactly what they did.
I got him. Get the radio gear. I got him. The first dart hit him a little lower than I wanted to see, but up in the shoulder area, and then the second dart fell a little short. There's a lot of brush between us and the bear. We were lucky to get one through. But he should go down. He's got a good one in him in a pretty good place. So time will tell.
He's down, Gary. His head's down.
Okay.
This is a magnificent bear. You could wander the woods of Pennsylvania a good long time and never see one near as good. They figured this one would have weighed in at 750 pounds last fall.
678 today.
678, is that right?
678.
Yep. Around 750 last fall. There's probably not a half a dozen bears in North America that big. Black bears. This is definitely bigger than 90% of the interior grizzly bears. And not only is he huge, he's absolutely gorgeous. He's just in beautiful shape. This is the equivalent of like world champion boxer. He's in the prime of his life. Very, very large male.
The chance to see a nearly 700-pound black bear still alive and well. This, folks, was an opportunity all of us here were glad to have.
Yep, here we go. This is one of the most beautiful bears I've ever seen. It's not only huge, nearly 700 pounds, probably weighed over 750 last fall, but it has a wonderful pelt, very few scars, beautiful teeth. It's just one of the most beautiful bears I've ever seen. This is in the top 1% in the world for black bears. Yeah, you will probably never see. I know of one bear that might be bigger than this. That is one dandy bear.
This black bear would wake up and go about his business none the worse for wear. and unknowing that he had given us a thrill few people have the opportunity to share. Black bear this big, nearly 700 pounds, don't come along very often. It was good that we were in the right place at the right time to see it.
Okay, Gary, you were excited when you called me the other night and said you won't believe what happened. What happened on the opening day of the deer season?
Well, on the opening day of deer season, they shot that bear that we did a story on 4 or 5 years ago. And 732 pounds field dressed.
That means without the inners, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Estimated live weight was 864 pounds.
I know Volkswagen Rapids did them.
There's only one other bear I know of in the world that ever weighed more than that. It was from Manitoba. I'm not aware of anything in the United States that was that large. And last Monday, 3 bears came into our check stations from Pike and Monroe counties that estimated live weight was over 800 pounds. There's less than 1% of the interior grizzly bears in the United States and Canada get that large. So
unbelievable.
These are the largest black bears in the world.
And did I hear you when that was running, actually, you whispered to me that there's one bigger than that?
There is. There's another one out there. He was 12 years old, the one that weighed 864 pounds. There's another one out there now that's about 22 years old. He's still alive. He's not as pretty as that one. He's wearing a lot of scars. He's done a lot of battle. But he's even larger than that bear. At least he was in his prime.
So that big one was how old?
That big one was 12 years old.
How long in a natural setting would they have lived without a hunter getting it?
Well, late teens, early 20s typically, but that other guy's 22. That's the oldest male we've ever tracked. The oldest female was 30 years old.
Oh, what a story.
Yeah.
What a story. Well, there you have it, right from the one-time bear expert.
Yeah.
You're still an expert, but now you moved to
yeah.
deer.
Yeah, I used to be the bear man. Now I'm just the fawn boy.
The fawn boy. The fawn boy and Don Jacobs will be back with some more of Pennsylvania Outdoor Life in a minute, so stick around. Welcome back to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. Before we do a little product giveaway here, Gary, I've got to ask you, you've asked a lot out of hunters to bear with you as you were changing the rules of their game, and I think they're doing that quite nicely. What do you see in store? What other changes are coming?
Well, I think we continue to look at the facts and try and figure out where are we and where do we want to go. And as you might recall, 23 years ago, there was a huge debate in this state about bears. If we change the cub law, you're going to wipe out the bear population. At that time, we had about 2,500 bears, and now we have over 15,000 bears. We obviously, by design, got this thing worked out. And the same with deer. I think we have to continue to keep our eye on that resource. We need to look at what's going on with the buck side of it. We need to balance the deer with their habitat. But I believe that if we continue down this road, we can produce the best deer hunting Pennsylvania's ever seen. I think the greatest days are yet to come.
I have to tell you, as I walk around in the streets, a lot of people say, you know what I like about that Dr. Alt? If he tries something, he always admits, if it doesn't work, we'll change it and try it again. And that's some darn kudo for you, and I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
And I want you to hold this.
Okay.
You know what it is?
Yes, I do.
Okay. It is a gambrel. It comes to us from Eagleville Gambrel. We have 2 of them to give away. Actually, what you do is you put the hind ends in this, similar to this picture right here, and it's good for skinning your own deer. Do you clean your own deer and butcher
I do.
and
Yeah, I
everything?
process my own and cook my own and eat my own.
Get out of here. Well, maybe if your father has a card in here, who knows, right? And we'll pick out 2 of these. Look at this pile. This is from last week's drawing. We are going to meet up with the owner, the new owner of the ATV this week, and we'll make sure that you meet the winner of it. Stephen Moore of Kunkletown and Kevin Williams of Clark Summit. We're going to send you guys one of these gambrels. I certainly want to thank you again, Gary, for sitting in for Ken, and good luck with your programs. Keep us in touch, because our viewing audience definitely wants to be there with you.
Well, we're certainly appreciative to be able to work with Pennsylvania Outdoor Life, because you reach so many people. It educates the hunters, and education is what moves us all forward.
And good luck personally on your efforts out there in the deer season.
I'll be out there, and I'll be out there next week as well.
Excellent, excellent. On behalf of Ken Hunter, who couldn't make it here tonight, I'm Don Jacobs, and for Gary Alt and everybody else from Pennsylvania Outdoor Life, we wish you the very best in the great outdoors. Good night now.
Yep, take care.
Pennsylvania Outdoor Life is a local presentation of WNEP TV. We're proud to serve northeastern and central Pennsylvania.
Shoot.
Thank you for joining us for a look back at POL Classics. Now I'm going to invite you to join us every Sunday night at 6:30 on WNEP+.